Ryan Lavner is the Golf Channel senior writer, and you get ready for the Ryder Cup and a lot of stuff going on in that sport, and including Tiger Woods playing some awfully good golf here recently. And Ryan joins us here on Big Board Sports 104.5 The Team, ESPN Radio in Albany. Ryan, Roger Weiland, Brian Mariano, good morning.
Good morning, guys. How are you?
Good, Ryan. Appreciate a few minutes. Hey, start with Phenom. Tony Phenom named as the final captain's pick for the Ryder Cup team. Surprise or not?
Absolutely no surprise whatsoever. His body of work, frankly, was just better than Xander Schauffele, who I believe was kind of the second front runner in that race. I think Tony is just going to be an ideal four-balls partner. That's where both guys are playing the hole, and whoever has a lower score is better. I could see him partnering with Phil Mickelson. He's third in driving distance, 11th in birdie average. He's going to be a great addition to that team. Well,
the United States has not won a Ryder Cup on European soil, Ryan. I need to tell you this. Since 1993, is this the year that they break through? How strong of a Ryder Cup team does the United States have?
This is just about as strong as the Americans can get. However, this European team might also be one of the strongest ever. You think about it, 18 of the top 21 players in the world are going to be competing in Paris. I would still give a slight edge to the Europeans. The golf course that they're going to be playing the Ryder Cup on is the Golf National. It is an extremely claustrophobic golf course. It's not overly long. The rough is going to be very deep, and the greens are going to be slow. That's not necessarily a recipe for success for the Americans. I still give Europe the edge just because of that home course advantage.
Ryan, there's been so much talked about with this Ryder Cup team, especially on the U.S. side, on how they've picked the team and now giving a little bit more time for Captain Jim Furyk to select those captains' pick. It used to be in years past that it had to be towards the beginning of September where the entire team had to be picked. And there's been kind of a revamping on the style of more camaraderie with this American team. Does that help them finally with not only the talent they have on this team, but now being able to go and stop this streak of 25 years going over to Europe?
Oh, totally. And if you think about it, Phil Mickelson was really the catalyst, throwing his captain, Tom Watson, under the bus in 2014. That really got the wheels in motion for what we're seeing now with all this new U.S. camaraderie. They had the task force that's now morphed into a Ryder Cup committee. There just seems to be more togetherness, more brotherhood. They're playing for each other. And I think a big thing, not just with Phil Mickelson throwing that barb out there, is that there's now this young nucleus of talent that has grown up playing junior golf and college golf together. They've been together on the tour. There's a camaraderie there and a sense of togetherness that perhaps wasn't there a decade ago. I'm not sure if that's necessarily going to translate to a win this year in Paris, but I think building for the future, the foundation is there for this young group to be very successful, the more successful that they have been in the Ryder Cup.
Ryan Lavner with us, Golf Channel senior writer. Ryan, how long can a golf ball hang on the lip before it drops in and it still counts? Because I showed a shot last night on News Channel 13 here in Albany of Keegan Bradley at a ball that was on that lip, I think, for 10 seconds before it did go in, and it counted.
10 seconds is the rule, but there's a way to get around it. If you can kind of act all surprised initially and then kind of meander towards the ball with no real purpose in mind, as long as you don't pass 10 seconds, it's okay. We saw it last year at the PGA Championship with Justin Thomas. He had a birdie putt kind of hang on the lip, and he was right at that 10-second boundary as well. It happens every so often. It just seems like whenever you and I have that putt, it always stays out.
Ryan, there's no doubt about
that.
No doubt about it.
That's exactly how I ended the sportscast last night. You know, the anchors are all laughing, getting a kick out of it. I said, now, if that were my ball, I guarantee you it's still hanging on the lip for sure. What did you make of Keegan Bradley and the win in the playoff? And then what do you make of the way Tiger Woods has been playing, coming close, not winning, but boy, he's certainly right there.
Yeah, starting with Keegan, I feel the same way that I felt about Webb Simpson earlier this year, breaking out of a slump and winning the Players' Championship, and that I don't think people realize just how much hard work has to go in to a guy who has to revamp his entire putting stroke after that ankle band, the countless hours, weeks, months, years worrying that he's ever going to get it back on the green. So to see him break through, I think you can see the emotion on his face. That was great to see. I felt poorly for Justin Rose, ascended to number one in the world for the first time, and it just so happened coincidentally, ever since he got to number one by making bogey on the last hole of regulation, he just didn't hit a good shot the rest of the time. Ended up finishing second, but I think he's clearly the number one player in the world right now. And Tiger, look, I mean, he's playing great golf, and I think in normal circumstances, he may have a win or two this season. Think about this. This is just the sixth time in his career that he has shot 263, which was in this case 17 under par or better in a tournament, and it was the first time that he didn't win that tournament. He's shooting the scores that's good enough to win. He just so happens to be going up in this era of ridiculously talented players, so he's going to need a little bit of help from them. If he continues this form, gets a little bit of help, I can see him winning a tournament.
Yeah, Ryan, there's no doubt there's talent all around in the game of golf nowadays, and one guy that had a really hot start to his career and kind of cooled off over the last couple of months is Jordan Spieth. He will not be in the Tour Championship in a couple weeks, and I'm trying to think in my mind, Ryan, is this kind of a good thing for him to get a couple weeks away before the Ryder Cup, or can that kind of hurt him not playing any sort of meaningful golf until the Ryder Cup because he has been struggling?
No, I think it's great. I think that's why he wasn't overly worried about making it to the Tour Championship. It may, in fact, be a blessing in disguise. He was really spinning his wheels in these playoffs, just trying to find something that he could grasp onto. His putting, of course, hasn't been as sharp this year. That's been well documented. His ball striking has really suffered. He was the number one iron player in 2017, and he stepped back closer to the middle of the pack this year. So I think if he can have a couple of days off, hit the reset button, and go back to work with swing coach Cameron McCormick, I think that's a whole lot better than going to the Tour Championship, finishing 25th or something like that, and then heading straight over to Paris. I think he's got some time to work out the issues.
Ryan Lavner, the Golf Channel senior writer, joining us here on Big Board Sports 104.5 The Team. Ryan, one more from me, and I know when Phil Mickelson did call out Tom Watson, there's been a lot of talk, and Brandel Chambly's been the one on the Golf Channel to really kind of go after this after that Ryder Cup, was basically talking about how he sent out some of these players and putting his best players kind of towards the back, especially on a Sunday during the Ryder Cup. Do you feel like with this lineup and so much talent on the U.S. roster that it's a little bit easier for Captain Jim Furyk, or is there still a lot of strategy for him going into this Ryder Cup?
I think there's a lot of strategy because if you look at this particular lineup, they're so, by and large, long off the tee that I think they're going to really struggle in alternate shot or foursomes play, because you're going to have a situation where you have two bombers out there, and it's just not necessarily a great fit. So although I thought Tony Finau was the right choice to make just because of the body of work, a player like a Xander Schauffele who can get the ball in play and is a good putter may have been a better fit just for alternate shot. That is traditionally where the Americans have struggled, and it's going to be up to Jim Furyk to find the right combination of players to just keep it close. If they can keep it close in alternate shot, they should have a significant advantage in singles and four balls play. But so Jim Furyk's really got his work cut out for him to find four great combinations of alternate shot play.
Ryan Lavner, great work as always. Golf Channel senior writer. We appreciate a few minutes here on Big Board Sports 104.5 The Team in Albany.
Anytime, guys. Thanks for having me.
Ryan Lavner, nice work there. And